Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rebecca Mosley, the co-founder of laughingplace.com, and this is Star Wars Headlines, where we get together and chat about the latest happenings within the world of Star Wars. Let's see. The discussion is led by the editorial director here of Star Wars content, Mike Celestino. Now that I've completely butchered the intro, how you doing, Mike?
Very busy, very busy lately, but happy to be here talking more Star Wars on a Wednesday.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun here as we get ready for the arrival of Boba Fett just a week away.
That's right. Yeah, a week from last night at midnight. So,
Exactly.
will I stay up till midnight? I don't know. My sleep schedule has been wonky again, so I'm not sure if I can do it, but we'll see.
Well, they've been unveiling a little bit more content. Did anything in particular jump out to you in some of the recent items that they unveiled, whether it's that short teaser or the featurette that has popped up recently?
I watched the teaser. I haven't had time to watch the featurette with the interviews and stuff. I saw that Filoni and Favreau, and I think Tamara Morrison,
Mm-hmm.
Rodriguez. But I haven't seen it. I don't know what they say. I saw that little. I saw that clip with the guy. I think he calls himself the mayor or something, right?
He
Um,
brings welcomes from the mayor. Yeah,
oh, he
totally.
brings welcome. Oh, he thinks. Oh, he works for the mayor, I
It
guess.
seems to
So
me he's a spokesman, exactly.
okay, yeah.
But this
But yeah,
this
I think
particular one shows us, I think, a bit more about the adventure. I don't know. I got more of a feel for kind of the pacing, uh the pacing that I expect now when I see it. Because up until now, I haven't been quite as sure exactly what I'm dealing with this as compared to the Mandalorian. How about you? Did you feel like you came away with any additional feel for the show, Mike? I mean, it's only
I,
it's only 30 seconds, so
yeah, and I still feel like they're only giving us stuff from the very very beginning, like
that's
the
right.
first half of the first episode. Uh, I think there's a ton we don't know about this, and even the stuff, even when they add shots, it's all kind of around the same. Seems like
True.
it's all around the same scenes. So,
Yeah. So
um,
they're still holding their cards very, very close to the vest. There was gonna be a premiere celebration of it at the El Capitan Theater. They were gonna screen it there at the theater, but because of the rising numbers, they are postponing that, and instead they will have a gathering on the 8th of February, I think it's first week of February, which will be in line with when the series is wrapping up. So rather than kind of being a launch party, they're gonna do kind of a wrap
finale
up,
party.
a finale
Yeah.
celebration. So yeah, a little disappointing there, but understandable. And like I say, I'm excited. I think I'm more excited for the. I am going into this more excited than I was for Mandalorian.
That's a good question. I was pretty psyched for the Mandalorian, especially after what they showed at Star Wars Celebration 2019 in Chicago. Those clips really, really got me psyched for that show, and I had great faith in the creative team and everything. And I think what I preferred a little bit about The Mandalorian is that it was all question marks. It was all like, we don't know any of these characters. This obviously is going to have a familiar character as the lead. But at the same time, we also don't know really much of what's going to be happening in the series. So that's exciting. I don't know if I can pick one that I'm more excited for, but or that I was more excited for. I'm very excited for this though, and I will be tuning in as soon as I can for sure.
Yeah, this the way that the teasers have been for this has been story and plot that is more my speed. That I don't want to say mob boss, but a lot more of that kind of dynamic where you've got kind of
Yeah.
a duo against a underworld. That's really appealing to me. Whereas the Mandalorian had been so Western, kind of dusty Western, which has not really ever been a genre that appealed to me. In fact, I'm still amazed at how they managed to get me to be as interested in when I sit down and just kind of think about exactly what the storylines were and what the where we went with Mandalorian. I'm surprised I liked it as much as I did, and I mean, and that just says everything you need to know for me about the skill and talent of the team behind the Mandalorian. I'm gonna say hi to
Yeah.
Mike here. He popped in. Hey, Mike.
Mike.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, but as somebody who's into both westerns and mafia movies, as other people have pointed out, Boba Fett looks like it's got some crime movie elements. So yeah, I'm excited for this too. I like the western stuff. I like the mob stuff in this. So
Hey, you know, it just dawned on me. This is like the Great Movie Ride, right? When you went on the
yeah,
Great Movie Ride, you either got the Western or the mob. So
and
there
you've
you
got
go.
the Wizard of Oz because when they knock on Jabba's palace's door in Return of the Jedi, that's a reference to the Wizard of Oz.
There you go. So as we all know, it all goes back to Disney's Great Movie Ride. Oh man, I'll have to talk to my son about that theory. Um, you've been doing a lot of comic reading, Mike. We have a few to catch up on, and then some new ones came
Yeah.
out today.
Yeah, so this is last week, High Republic number 12. I was just trying to refresh my memory because I really like this issue, but I've just been doing so much and consuming so much that I couldn't quite remember what happened in it. But it's kind of like I call it like an in-between story. It's like in
Mhm.
between adventures. They come back from this mission where they had gone undercover at this Nile base and they got attacked there, and now they're kind of recovering from that. And we do get little flashbacks to see what happened at the end of that adventure because the previous issue had ended on a cliffhanger with that attack, and like now we find out like who escaped, who survived, what the status of everybody is, and then by the end they're kind of this lady Marshal Avar Chris, who's the leader of the Jedi at the Starlight Beacon space station. She's decided she's going to go kind of on the offensive and go and attack the Nile in their own base. So that's kind of what's happening by the time we get to the end of this issue. But I thought it was really good. I really always enjoy this High Republic. um,
Yeah.
Mike Farnham asked if I'm channeling Elvis. It was just because last night I played Ebenezer Scrooge in this thing that we did. So I haven't had time to shave it off. I was actually thinking I might just leave it through the holidays because my beard grows so fast.
Right.
It'll just come in around it.
Well, that'd be fun. Give it
But yeah.
a different look there. Oh, Mike, we have a special treat coming up near the end. I'll tease a little bit. So we had a lot of fun. If you missed Disney Trivia Live last night, you missed a lot of fun. But regarding this one in your review, Mike, you did kind of highlight that you found this to be a kind of a place setting issue, and so it gave it a bit more room to breathe and kind of let you into
Yeah.
the mindset, into the thought, into the the thoughts of the characters, and those are the types of stories that typically you latch on to.
Yeah, I do remember saying that now, and I do prefer this kind of story over one that's more like action oriented because it is kind of like all the Jedi are talking about all the stuff that's happened recently and preparing for the next thing, and it does kind of let you get into their heads a little bit. So action, I think you've said you're kind of the same way, where action you
Mhm.
just kind of your eyes kind of glaze over and you're just like, well, when the action scene's over, then they'll do more talking and then I'll be into it again. But that's kind of the way I feel too. So and I
I don't
think
know.
Kevin, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Kevin Scott's such a great
Hmm.
writer of dialogue and everything. Yeah, cerebral as Mike Farnham said there.
Well,
But yeah, I really recommend
totally
it.
total side note, did you watch Hawkeye from last night yet? Have you
I
have
have
you
not. No, I
Okay.
have not had a
Okay.
second. No.
Well then I will not ask the question I was going to ask regarding cerebral versus action.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
see. On to the next comic that you read. That would well that we're going to talk about here. That would
Yeah.
be the 2021 annual collection of stories from the High Republic Adventures.
Yeah, so this is from IDW Comics, and this issue is the first annual issue of High Republic, and that's not it doesn't go in the usual order, 1 through 12 or whatever. It's number 1 of the annuals, and it's a little longer than the usual comic. And this is actually a collection of short stories, one from each of the authors of the High Republic. So you got one from Gavin Scott, one from Charles Soule, one from Claudia Gray, one from Justina Ireland, and one from Daniel Jose Older. And I enjoyed all of them. They all focus on a different character, usually characters that are associated with those authors. So like think like Claudia Gray had created this crew of one spaceship, so she has a story about them and etc. You know what I mean? But I
Mhm.
enjoyed all the stories. It again, it kind of allowed you to spend some more time with these characters, get to know them a little bit better, and it skips around in time. It's not all taking place in the same time period of the High Republic. Some of it is before where they are currently in the timeline. Some of it is during. You know what I mean? They're just filling in the gaps a little bit, and I love the interconnected nature of all this stuff. So the fact that worked out, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think Marvel has stopped doing the annual issues for their
Okay.
Star Wars comics, so it's kind of good to see that IDW is still doing that because I kind of missed it. It gives you an opportunity to do a little bit of a different story rather than always having the sequential one
Mhm.
follows the other kind of
Mhm.
thing. This is kind of like you can do whatever you want with the annual, and it's a little longer.
And so I just want to make sure I understand. This is not like a collection of previous stories
No,
repackaged
nope,
in a way. These are new tales, but from
yes,
authors that we're familiar with if we've been reading the Star Wars comics.
yeah, like excuse me, Mike Farnham said there. The annual issue goes way back to early days of comic books, where yeah,
Mhm.
like I remember Fantastic Four in the '60s, you'd have 12 regular issues a year, and then plus one annual issue. And I think sometimes in the annual they would like reprint a popular story from one of the regular issues, but then there would also be like a big long story that's new for the annual issue. And it was just like a way. I guess they probably came out around the holidays, and it's a way to
Right.
kind of like end the year of the
Mhm.
comic and stuff. So it's cool to see that tradition kind of continuing.
Hi, Charlotte. Do you think if somebody was a Star Wars fan and maybe they weren't somebody who read the comics, if I haven't been reading a lot of the High Republic comics, is that something where, as a Christmas gift or whatever, if you gave it to me, I could kind of have enough knowledge to step right into it? Or do you feel like it's I would be kind of, thrown, it would feel like being thrown halfway into a very complicated movie.
I would actually recommend picking up the first volume trade paperback of the Cavan Scott Marvel High Republic comic
Okay.
because not only is it my favorite, but it's a good jumping in point. I do think like this one, what we were just talking about, the High Republic Adventures Annual, it does require a little bit of knowledge of both the comics already and the High Republic novels that have already come out because you kind of got to know some of these characters to get what these stories are going for.
Okay. And continuing with the comics that are out there currently, we have Darth Vader number 19. This is a continuing adventure that we've been following in recent
Yeah.
weeks.
I really like this issue too. This is written by Greg Pak, who's a popular Marvel Comics writer, and this follows Darth Vader and this like new team that he's assembled of characters that are all pretty interesting, including Ochi of Bestoon, who we first saw in The Rise of Skywalker. He's like a Sith assassin kind of guy. And they're off in the Outer Rim trying to track down all the Imperial agents who are secretly working for Crimson Dawn, the criminal organization. Um, and I just really enjoyed that. There's like this ragtag team that they've put together, including Valence the Hunter, Baylor Valence from the Bounty Hunters comic, who has now been kind of like forcefully conscripted by Darth Vader and is working for him. We talked about that a week or two ago
Hmm.
on this show. And now he's like in the Darth Vader comic. Like I love when they overlap like that, like you follow one character from the Bounty Hunters comic over into the Darth Vader comic. And I think that's really great. And it's weird that it's all tying into this Crimson Reign thing that's happening, but they're not putting Crimson Reign on the cover like they did with the War of the Bounty Hunters. I wonder if maybe that affected sales or something. People are worrying like, oh, if I read this, I have to go and read all of the War of the Bounty Hunters stuff. But now it's Crimson Reign, and this ties into Crimson Reign, but it doesn't say in big logo or whatever Crimson Reign on the cover, but it does still cross over with that story.
Part of what you brought out in your review that particularly connected with me as somebody who's way more well versed in the classic is that a lot of the story structure is kind of pulling directly from moments of the film, you know, Anakin Skywalker or Darth Vader moments from the film, and then using that to kind of show you why he's doing what he's doing within this particular storyline.
Yeah, so Greg Pak, the current writer of the Darth Vader comic, he does this thing pretty frequently where he'll have flashbacks to either events from the prequel trilogy or the original trilogy, because this takes place between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. There's a good example there. We get at the very beginning of this issue a flashback to both when Anakin leaves his mother on Tatooine, but then also this conversation that he has with Padme about politics on the planet Naboo. And those conversations and those events in his life both factor into his actions and decisions in the like current day of the issue, where he's kind of deciding how to handle this Crimson Dawn situation. So I like that Greg Pak is thinking that way. Like, not only is he continuing the story from that point, but also he's thinking about how to tie it back into things that have already happened, both in the movies and the comics.
And then, is this the Ragtag Crew? Did I pull?
Yeah.
Did I pull the correct image? Because when you were talking about them in the review, I was like, oh, I want to be able to see them on screen as he's talking about them.
Yeah. So can you make that a little bit bigger?
I'm gonna try. Let me give it a shot here. And then I can make us smaller.
The guy all the way on the left there, not the stormtrooper, but the next guy, that's Ochi of Bestoon without his helmet on. And then all these other guys are these, like, they call them the Revengers, which I think is a little bit of a in-joke reference to the Avengers. But yeah, they're all people who've been like wronged by Crimson Dawn in the past, so they have like a bone to pick with that crime syndicate.
I can understand why you compared him to Fantastic Four, right?
So I love this guy, this Trandoshan, because Trandoshan is one of my favorite species. That big bulky guy in the background there. His name is actually Tanka, Tanka, which is another little in-joke, because you always call, if there's ever like a big beefy guy on a team, you call him the tank.
Always.
You know?
Yeah, always.
Like Mr. Incredible on The Incredibles is the tank character, because he could just run in and barrel through a big bunch of people and knock them all out or whatever. But his name is Tanka, that Trandoshan. And then, yeah, each one of them has like their own unique little thing going on. There's like a big giant ball droid kind of thing that can roll over people. Yeah, I just find them very amusing. I'd like to see more of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, the way you were talking about them, it really it got me thinking. Okay, maybe I need to dive into back into the Vader, Darth Vader comics, because I had been reading them for a little bit, but I kind of dropped off. Speaking of dropping off, I read issue number 1 here, yeah. And I haven't been able to catch back up. But here we are. We're going to discuss issue number 3, and hopefully, I will catch up before we were talking about issue number 4.
Yeah, so we're back in the High Republic era again for the last comic that we're going to talk about today. It's Trail of Shadows. I'm loving this story. I really, really am. And Daniel Jose Older has grown on me so much as a writer. Like, I just think he's doing a wonderful job with this. It's basically a film noir detective story in the Star Wars universe. It's a murder mystery. And if you read the novel Star Wars The High Republic, The Rising Storm by Cavan Scott, it ends with a mysterious death. And this comic miniseries is about the investigation of how that death happened and what actually killed this Jedi Master. It's not really a spoiler because that book came out like 6 months ago. So
wow, very cool.
Yeah, and I'm just loving it. I just love everything about it. And even this issue is kind of reminding me a little bit of what we were talking about earlier, where it feels like kind of an in-between, where it's mostly character stuff and talking. But I loved that, and I loved the mood, and I love the art. But yeah, this is honestly, when this comes out in the collected, I think it's going to be 5 issues, and this is the halfway point, number 3. But when this comes out in the collected trade paperback, I recommend everybody pick this up immediately because this is my favorite thing to come out of the High Republic overall so far, by far. Really, really enjoying that.
What kind of critter is this thing that is on screen to your left, to your right?
That is, let me see if I can remember the species. I think it's a Chadra fan.
Okay.
And you actually see one in the original Star Wars movie in the cantina.
Okay. Okay.
He's the little bat creature that like picks up the drink and goes like this.
Oh,
But
wow.
this is another character of the same species, and he's like I think he's a scientist
Oh, okay.
or like a weapons developer working for the Nile, and he's kind of a double agent. There's a lot of infighting among the villains in this issue, which is also kind of a very film noir type thing, and makes for a lot of fun action that happens in the middle of this issue. And yeah, it's funny because this is a mystery miniseries, but like I said in my review, there's not a lot of mystery solving in this issue because there's so much else going on, but I didn't mind that at all.
Okay. Continuing in the world of the High Republic, we had a little bit of merchandise from that era of Star Wars pop up in this week's Bring Home the Bounty. So we're going to take a little jaunt right over real quick to a little bit of merchandise from Bring Home the Bounty. It's Heroes and Villains High Republic collection, a variety of hats and sweatshirts and various T-shirts that are based within the characters and events of this first phase of the High Republic, which I believe is called Light of the Jedi, is what they're calling this first phase here.
Yes.
So those are over at Heroes and Villains, and that was part of this week's Bring Home the Bounty. We'll be talking about more of the items that were kind of unveiled within that weekly series. I think we're on week 11 of Bring Home the Bounty. That's when they share with us a lot of Star Wars merchandise. But we are going to talk about Star Wars Night at the Orlando Magic. I don't know, Mike, did you have a chance to kind of follow along with our Mike Mack, who was attending the Orlando Magic basketball game?
I saw some of the tweets, so I saw some of the photos he took, but I haven't looked through the post.
Yeah, it looks like it was a lot of fun. They utilized Star Wars characters throughout the evening's events there with the Orlando Magic. Ashley Eckstein was on hand to meet and greet fans there at the building. That's our Mike Mack. He's our Marvel guy, but he is on site in Orlando, so he got to head over to Star Wars evening.
It's funny that Mike is our Marvel guy and I'm the Star Wars guy, but we both kind of, I would say we minor in each other's interests, like
yes,
I'm a more casual Marvel guy and he's a more casual Star Wars guy, but we both are into both of those things.
And as part of the fun, they had select merchandise featuring the ships and figures that we are familiar with from the world of Star Wars. You have the Millennium Falcon along with the Orlando Magic logo, and then they were playing the Miami Heat, so you have Orlando Magic in their blue, and then of course, since you have blue, now you're going to go with Vader red, and so you have the Miami Heat in red. And so a lot of fun gear and attire available during Star Wars Night at the Orlando Magic. If you haven't had a chance, if you're a casual sports fan and a diehard Star Wars fan, it can bring a lot of fun to stop by your local sports team when they have one of these nights. In my area, or here up in the Bay, when they have Star Wars Night, you'll have beautiful fireworks to accentuate the baseball game. That kind of fun. So giveaways, whether bobbleheads. You also have select merchandise, so you can combine those two interests, your sports interest and your Star Wars interest, into a single event. Now we get to talk about what's coming up next year, Mike. You gathered up various items that you are excited about coming to us in 2022 from the world of Lucasfilm.
Yeah, I went through and basically checked to see what the biggest like content wise, the biggest things coming from Star Wars. So this doesn't include like events that you would attend or anything. This is all like novels, comics, TV, and one theme park immersive experience. But I was surprised at how much stuff there is. It's going to be a pretty big year for Star Wars 2022.
And is your article in a specific like kind of a countdown order, or is it thematic?
It
As
is
people dive
in
into it.
release order.
Okay. So so you can use this to mark on your calendar what is coming up in 2022, so that way you can make sure that you don't miss any of it, and you can prepare your budget accordingly, as I like to say, because there's so much coming up. What do you recall from your article? What is like are you most looking forward to?
I mean, Book of Boba Fett, I'm certainly very excited for. That obviously starts next week in 2021, but it continues for another 6 weeks into the next year. So I counted that as part of 2022 as well. But then there's
Mhm.
also 2 other live action Star Wars series, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Andor, coming to Disney Plus. That's a comic book series that's tying into the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. He said 45th. I'm not sure what that means.
Oh, it's the 45th anniversary of A New Hope in May.
Oh, gotcha. Yes.
He's
Good
just making a
point.
correction on the original.
Yes. And I think the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones.
Oh, wow. Oh, seriously?
Yeah. So yeah, a
Wow.
bunch of stuff. A lot of stuff from the High Republic, a lot of comics, a lot of TV. Galactic Star Cruiser is going to be a big deal, whether we like it or not. I mean, whether we end up liking the finished product or not. I do like that it's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm excited to finally let people experience it and then hear
Yeah.
what people have to say and follow it on its journey. Because as with all Disney, no, I shouldn't say all, as with many Disney projects, especially those that are kind of groundbreaking or highly experimental, you'll see it tweaks and reshapes from its launch day through its initial operations, and as they get their customer feedback and see how things actually work within real time, because there's a difference between the theory behind your product and then its actual arrival. Do you like the poster? I hadn't really taken a deep look at it.
I do like that. It pops up actually in the comics.
Okay.
They've been buying ads in Marvel. I mean, I guess they're buying because it's a different part of the Disney company, but they do have ads in the Marvel company, in the Marvel comics. This very poster they put in there, and I'm sure that when they hired somebody to do this, I'm not sure who the artist is, but I'm sure they told them to kind of emulate the style of Drew Struzan, who's a very
Mm-hmm.
famous movie poster artist. It looks very much like his style, but I don't believe it's him who painted this.
Yeah, it is very intense. It really is playing to the notion of a Star Wars adventure is going to be you're embarking on a Star Wars adventure, as opposed to my thought more so is more Star Wars vacation. No, this to me says high energy,
Yeah.
adrenaline pumping. Adventure is going to be your 48 hours aboard the Halcyon.
Yeah, maybe they need to get that across in the marketing, and people will be more excited for it.
Yeah, oh, I am so. This is one of those things, Mike, where I am very interested to see how it plays out. Mike Farnham points out that we do not see Josh D'Amaro with his lightsaber among the images there in the poster. Mike's article will be linked below, so you can make sure and go through and check out everything that's coming in 2022. We just touched on a couple of the items here in this chat just now.
I
Let's
want to say I
see.
had 15 things, and I even grouped a bunch of stuff together. Like the High Republic is all one entry out of the 15, and there's a bunch of books and comics just within that one entry. So 15 entries of stuff to look forward to from Star Wars in 2022.
There is a lot going on, and that's just within in the world of Star Wars. Here at Laughing Place, we cover the entire Disney company, and also other area theme parks. So I encourage you to follow us on Twitter if you're enjoying the conversation here. If you'd like to follow some of our other conversations as we discuss Disney parks or Marvel, if you subscribe to the channel, obviously you'll get to find out about when we're talking about all that kind of fun as well. So I encourage you to do so. Let's see. Oh, hey, Farnham is asking, any High Republic action figures?
I would love to see that happen. In fact, when I was first reading, I think when I read the first issue of the main High Republic comic book, I tweeted that I want an action figure of Skier, who is the Trandoshan Jedi featured in that comic. And I think Kevin Scott, the author who I believe created that character, retweeted me and agreed that he would love to see that too. So hopefully that they haven't announced anything yet.
Well, we're going to jump into a few items that are coming, and that is beginning with these Battlefront 2 ARC Troopers. These are currently available for pre-order, and they're attractive figures, Mike.
They are. I don't collect clone trooper stuff, so I won't be getting these because I just, in general, I don't collect stuff from the prequels or sequel trilogies. But they do look really, really cool.
And these reveals, they have some in the 3 3/4 vintage, and then others are in the 6-inch. So be sure and check out the article about these coming ARC Trooper figures. I am excited about this coming item. It is a Snap model kit. It's a 1/63 scale of the Luke Skywalker's X-Wing fighter from A New Hope. This is kind of more my skill set, not extremely complicated, somewhat, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And it's a price point of $37, so not terribly high end either if I screw it up massively. So I'm excited about this coming kit.
And is this painted, or you have to paint this?
I believe it comes with decals.
Okay.
So you have the decal placement diagram comes with it. So that, yeah,
that's what I'm always terrible at painting. I had a Millennium Falcon model that I built when I was a kid, probably like 11 or 12 years old. And it was always just gray because I was afraid to paint it, like I just don't have a steady hand. And
no, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Same.
That's why I like Lego, but then Lego sometimes will have the stickers you got to put on, and I can't get them on straight. Every sticker I have on any Lego set is crooked, so
it really bothers me too. It's like,
yeah.
they need to have there's two things that Lego needs to come up with. Okay, you know how when you go to the store and you can do Coinstar and you can get all your coins sorted? They need that, but for Legos. They need like a place at the Lego store where I can go and I pay a fee and I dump in like 5 pounds of Legos and it sorts them for me.
That's pretty good, yeah.
I want that. And then the other thing I would like is a service where I can pay them to decal my stuff, because I would totally pay for not looking at crooked decals, because it does concern me.
Yep, yeah. It bugs me too.
Oh,
I got the Home Alone house for my birthday, and I haven't started building it yet, but I'm like dreading any stickers that are in that set. It's battle damage.
Like, there you go. If you mess up the painting, it's just battle damage.
Yeah, that's kind of, I always tell people, because my car is a little bit dinged up, because I have this very narrow garage in our apartment building where I have to pull in, and when we first moved in, I was very bad at pulling into the garage, so the side kind of got scratched by the door, and it's got like white lines down the back side, and I always say like, well, it just reminds me of a Star Wars spaceship because it kind of has this like weathering on it, Yeah, I was gonna say, actually, Mike has seen the same video that I have of that Lego sewing machine. I think it's built out of Lego, if I'm not mistaken, if that's the same one that I'm thinking of.
I want it on high volume and available at like like I say, I want it like a Coinstar where I go up and I give them a fee and then they sift 5 pounds of Legos.
But what are they giving it to you in? Like, What is the finished product when they hand it back to you?
Yeah, I'm unsure on what would be the way to do it, but some sort of delineated, and I don't even mind if I have to, like, give them a percentage of my bricks. Here we go. But yeah, I know, Doobie. It is built out. I have seen it too. It's built out of Legos. I've done the thing where you drill holes a little bit smaller in varying. You get those Home Depot buckets. They're like, the 5-gallon buckets, and you drill holes that are just a little bit smaller than each, and you pour it in, and then you just shake, 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 shake. They're like different, yeah. But because my son is wonderfully creative, and he will build the model, but then he will disassemble it, and it will just end up in little pieces in other bags. But I like the models, and so I want to rebuild them, but
Right.
it's like too many little pieces everywhere in order to rebuild. So yeah.
I know all these problems too well, as a Lego hoarder myself, so
Yeah, we have a bag. I describe it as our Santa bag, because that's been the best as a mom. That's been the best way for him to play with them. I have not had the stepping on a Lego experience because of this device. It's one of those bags with a drawstring, and so all the Legos are just in there, so he can just unfurl it into this massive pile of Legos. And then when he's done, you just pull on the drawstring, and they're all beautifully contained.
yeah.
So yeah, it works, but not for what mommy needs. For his needs, it works beautifully. Let's see, Mike. We've got this 6-inch action figure. It's a Black Series. It's from the Fallen Order. It's a Knight Brother. That's coming to GameStop.
Yeah,
Really,
that's,
I mean, just attractive.
that's really cool looking, and
that,
this is giving me flashbacks to playing that video game, because these guys were tough,
This is
especially
one
in
of
the
the,
beginning.
I was gonna say, this is one of those where Mike won't buy it because he'll just feel his blood pressure climb every time he walks into the room and sees it. Over from Gentle Giant, they've got a couple of Boba Fett bust items that they are unveiling. One is a kind of a full torso. The other one is just a simple head and shoulders look at the bounty hunter.
I was thinking about this. I find this odd about myself. I don't ever like the busts like that or the statues, because they're static. You can't pose them the way you want to. But I do collect all the action figures, the Black Series, which are posable in a lot of different ways, very highly articulated. But I just put him on the shelf like that. I don't ever really like, this is how he'll look for the rest of my life on the shelf. So what do I need the articulation for? It just looks the same as that statue.
The potential
The
energy, Mike.
potential of posing him differently.
You could. It's an option. You don't want to just naturally lock yourself out of the option, apparently.
Right. I guess so.
And then the Republic of Tea, it has unveiled a collection of Book of Boba Fett tins. Really stunning artwork on these. If you are someone who enjoys tea, these are very beautiful collector type storage for the higher quality teas that you can find over there from the Republic of Tea. And continuing with Book of Boba Fett items, heroes and villains. They've got some long sleeve tees featuring that image that captured all of our attention in the finale of Mandalorian. You've got now, is this what Boba Fett said in? Is this a Boba Fett saying? Is this it's I'm a simple man making his way through the galaxy like my father before me?
It's kind of a paraphrase, because he does say something similar to that in Attack of the Clones, Jango Fett, and then Boba Fett says something similar to that in Mandalorian. But I think this is like a combo of those two things.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a direct quote, but I could be wrong. It might be a direct quote from the Mandalorian, but I don't think so.
And then it has the Mythosaur skull on it as well. And also you have the Mythosaur featured on a couple of like they have a backpack, they have a mini purse with it, they have a wallet. So those are all over at Heroes and Villains. And continuing with the Bring Home the Bounty Book of Boba Fett offerings, Her Universe unveiled a wide variety of items from in their collection. One of the reasons why we showcase her universe is because they are very welcoming in their size offerings. They scale from kind of junior sizes all the way through plus sizes. Here you have a Boba Fett long sleeve dress. They have a hoodie, some pins, just a wide variety of offerings over there at her universe. And they even have a variety of t-shirts in celebration of Fennec Shand. So if you want to show off your Fennec Shand love, there you go. Let's see. Mike Farnham is like, my wife would wear. Yeah, it's a nice dress.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it would match your beanie. There you go. So nice looking stuff from there over at her universe. And kind of wrapping up our Bring Home the Bounty Week 11 Book of Boba Fett offerings, Danielle Nicole over at GameStop, which I still can't believe this is what's over at it amazes me that this is what you find at GameStop. This is a nice purse. This is a kind of a very nice quality leather purse from the Danielle Nicole brand in celebration of Boba Fett. So you've got the familiar color scheme, the green, the I call it maroon, and the steel gray, probably Beskar gray, huh? Yeah. So there you go. So these are all the items that we've been featuring here on Laughing Places, part of Bring Home the Bounty Week 11. Once again, we'll have the links below so that you can take a look at those. We gathered them up. And if you click through Laughing Place, then obviously we get a small affiliate fee and no additional cost to you, but a little bit of that money helps us do stuff like this. So we appreciate the support. So let's see, Mike, that brings me to your interview.
Yeah. So if you have listened to my Star Wars podcast, Who's the Boss, you know that throughout the year 2021, I have been doing a 50th anniversary Lucasfilm retrospective. Basically watched and consumed every major project that Lucasfilm put out prior to the Disney acquisition in 2012, or anything that George Lucas himself was even like tangentially involved with outside of the company. And I thought, what better way to wrap that up than to talk with someone who has written a biography about George Lucas. And we happen to be followed on Twitter by this guy, Brian J. Jones, who's an author who wrote the book George Lucas, A Life, and he agreed to chat with me on Zoom about the book and about George Lucas himself. It was a really, really great conversation. The audio is going to be out tomorrow on the podcast, but you can actually go and read the transcribed interview, or most of, I cut it down a bunch, but it's in 2 parts still. After I cut it down, you can go read the 2-part interview. It was nearly an hour long. So I broke it into 2. You can read it on laughingplace.com. Thought it came out really, really great. I'm super proud of it. So looking forward to people getting to hear it tomorrow in full.
Tremendous interview. The biographer himself actually retweeted your interview with a glowing compliment on the experience and your questions and the discussion. So I actually have only been able to read small portions of it. I'm really looking forward to hearing it. But there's clearly a lot of passion for filmmaking and the artistry of storytelling through that medium. And that really came through in the questions and answers and the discussion that I was able to read in the interview. So like I say, I'm very excited about it, Mike. I can't wait to listen to it in full. So
yeah, it's weird. It's one of those things that I had in my head for so long. It's like, well, how am I going to end this retrospective? And I was like, I actually wanted my first instinct was to talk to this guy who wrote this book that I've been reading from all year. Every time I talked about a new project, I would go to this book that I got when I was a teenager called George Lucas, The Creative Impulse. And it was written by a guy who used to be the film critic for the LA Times, named Charles Champlin, I think. And I was like, I'm going to track this guy down and interview him. But sadly, he passed away about a decade ago. So,
wow.
I mean,
So
the current guy to talk to was Brian J.
yeah,
Jones. But
yeah.
he was amazing, and I was really, really thankful and happy that he agreed to do it.
So if you're someone who's interested in, if you're watching this, then you're obviously interested in the world of Star Wars and the genius behind it, kind of the one who started it all, right? It's really the interview itself is a really interesting kind of deep dive into some of that storytelling, and then just storytelling in general. Because I know you also since Brian J. Jones is also a biographer who did the Jim Henson story. You also kind of branch into that a little bit as well, and it's very interesting the way that the story of George Lucas and Jim Henson and the Disney company have all kind of, interspersed and mingled with each other in various ways over the years. So that's a podcast, Who's the Boss Pod. That'll be coming very soon to your podcast catchers. And if you're somebody who prefers to read it, Mike has kind of encapsulated it, offering highlights of it in a 2-part article on Laughing Place. And we will make sure that you have the link. And then you also had Jeff DePauli on as well.
Yeah, so this week's episode, the one that's the current newest episode until tomorrow morning, is the final project that we talked about for the Lucasfilm retrospective, which is this movie called Strange Magic. It's an animated feature. It was actually in development when George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney. So George Lucas came up with the story and put the wheels in motion, and then later that year sold Lucasfilm to Disney. But since he was directly involved with the development, I included it in the retrospective. Basically, it was everything that George Lucas had directly made himself or had direct influence over. So I thought it was a good idea to include. And I had never seen it before. It's on Disney Plus. It's very weird, as the title would imply.
Uh-huh.
It is shockingly, it is like a jukebox musical with like pop songs that you are familiar with. I did not know that going in, and that took me by surprise. It's a weird fairy tale. I don't know if I would recommend watching it, but it's certainly like an interesting subject to talk about.
Hi, Charlie. Thanks for popping
Doobie
in.
said it's Gideon's first movie that he ever saw, apparently.
I don't know what he's trying to say there, because it's not. So
okay.
I have no idea what my husband is talking about with this remark. So we'll have to see what that's about. I'll have to bug him later to find out. And I wanted to be sure that everyone knows that we had a lot of fun last night on Disney Trivia Live. And if you missed out, please stop by the Who's the Boss Pod Twitter. And Mike has very loving. He brought so much fun last night with the Fet's Vet karaoke cover for Disney Trivia Live, and I invite you to be sure and check it out over on Mike's Who's the Boss Twitter feed. So I don't know if there's anything you want to share about it, Mike. But
oh no, I just as I said last night, like, this song came out 20 years ago. It's a rap song about Boba Fett. It has a lot of not safe for work lyrics, but I always wanted to make a music video for it. And we do this Disney Trivia Live thing, and I'm a guest host on that every once in a while. I thought, because the Book of Boba Fett is coming out next week, I thought this is a great opportunity for me to not only make a fun, quick and dirty music video, but also get to like perform the song myself, and then kind of expose other people to the song. Not that, it doesn't have a tremendous amount of views yet on my YouTube channel, but yeah, I just think it's fun. I wanted more people to know about the song.
I agree.
MC Chris seems like a cool guy, and I changed some of the lyrics to be more family friendly.
Yeah, a lot of fun way to get psyched and all pumped up for Book of Boba Fett. So be sure to check that out over on Who's the Boss Pod, and maybe I'll drag it out sometime throughout our Book of Boba Fett discussions over the next few weeks, once we've got maybe part of our kickoff celebration, or maybe you know, who knows? We'll see.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll make its way into Star Wars headlines sometime soon. But for now, I'm going to direct you over to Mike's Who's the Boss Pod Twitter so that you can be sure and see all the fun and creativity that Mike Celestino brought to Disney Trivia Live with Bet's Vet. So
Awesome.
I guess that's it for us here at Star Wars Headlines. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week to discuss more Star Wars fun and excitement. I'm sure we're going to be discussing the premiere of Book of Boba Fett. I am dude, so excited about that.
Oh, yeah, wait, I kind of have a little bit of an announcement for next week. I don't even know if you know about this. I've talked with Benji about it. But instead of Star Wars headlines next week, we're going to be doing Who's the Boss live on YouTube. And I was going to ask you to be the first guest of season 3.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah. So it'll be a similar show with a different format and a different venue. But
very cool.
Tune in for that.
Fantastic. Okay, well, you heard it here first. So be sure to stay tuned. More fun, as always, coming to Laughing Place. We've got Disney Trivia Live on Saturday night at 7:30. As far as I know, I haven't heard any different. So next week's schedule, we will be having, there'll be little shifts here and there as we have end of the year fun in store for all of you. So be sure to like and subscribe down below to stay informed on all things happening around Laughing Place and our YouTube channel. Thank you very much, Mike. May the force be with you. Very happy holidays to everyone. And if we do not see you again before the end of the new year, because so much is happening in everybody's schedules, also a very happy new year to everyone. So yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll see you all soon.
I'm going to go watch The Matrix. Bye.